Looking for reliable forex analysis? Check out ForexScope for daily forecasts and insights to help you trade smarter. Link in the description and comments.
Victoria is poised to implement controversial legislation that would allow children as young as 14 to be tried as adults and face life sentences for violent crimes. This proposed adult time for violent crime approach, mirroring laws adopted by Queensland's Liberal National Government, has drawn sharp criticism from a coalition of human rights advocates, Indigenous leaders, legal experts, and various advocacy groups. Premier Jacinta Allan announced the government's intention to pursue these changes, citing a perceived lack of consequences for victims of crime. She stated that approximately one-third of youths in the children's court were sentenced for aggravated home invasion or aggravated carjacking, underscoring the government's rationale for shifting these offenses to adult courts. The Attorney General, Sonia Kilkenny, explicitly confirmed that this move would result in children facing adult sentencing, leading to more and longer jail terms. The proposed laws would also eliminate the principle of imprisonment as a last resort, compelling judges to prioritize community safety in their sentencing decisions. These significant legislative shifts are slated for introduction to Parliament before the end of 2025, though an effective date remains unspecified. The Premier also issued apologies to victims of home invasions, carjackings, and machete attacks. Opposition leader Brad Batten, however, accused the government of merely adopting a headline policy from Queensland without adequate consideration for Victorians' safety. Queensland's adult time laws were enacted in response to a series of high-profile crimes that deeply shocked the state, including the tragic deaths of Emma Lovell and Vilene White, both victims of violent crimes committed by teenagers. The sentencing of a 17-year-old for Vilene White's murder is currently underway in the Queensland Supreme Court, highlighting the gravity of the crimes that have prompted these legislative responses. Queensland's Deputy Premier, Jared Bligey, expressed pride in his state's tough stance on crime, welcoming Victoria's apparent endorsement of this approach. However, Monique Hurley, an associate legal director at the Human Rights Law Centre, voiced deep concern over the escalating trend of governments across Australia adopting what she termed reckless laws to jail more children, describing Victoria's move as an alarming race to the bottom that mirrors Queensland's harmful youth justice laws. These laws in Queensland, she noted, were so extreme that they necessitated the override of the state's own human rights protections. Data indicates a notable spike in criminal offences in Victoria, with a 15.7% increase in the year to mid-2025, largely attributed to thefts, home invasions, and repeat youth offenders. Statistics reveal that approximately 1,100 youths aged 10 to 17 were arrested a combined 7,000 times. Prominent advocacy groups, including the Victorian Aboriginal Legal Service, Victoria Legal Aid, Jesuit Social Services, and the Youth Junction, have collectively condemned the proposed Victorian laws, warning of their potential to condemn young offenders to prolonged periods of incarceration. Nerita Waite, Chief Executive of the Victorian Aboriginal Legal Service, underscored the stark contrast between Victoria's commitment to signing its first treaty and the Premier's intention to significantly curtail the futures of young people who have made mistakes. She argued that punishing trauma is not a solution. Toby Hemming, Chief Executive of Victoria Legal Aid, highlighted that many children within the youth justice system have endured profound trauma, disadvantage, or injustice, and while some have committed violent crimes, many have also been victims themselves. He emphasized that the adult justice system is ill-equipped to provide the necessary support for these children to build stable lives and avoid reoffending. Blake Edwards, Chief Executive of the Youth Junction, stated that the new laws incorrectly assume that young people possess the capacity to fully comprehend the long-term ramifications of their actions, an assumption that disregards the realities faced by trauma-affected youth. Independent Senator Lydia Thorpe has called for federal intervention, referencing the Minister for Indigenous Australians' commitment to imposing sanctions on states and territories that fail to meet closing the gap targets. The proposed Victorian legislation would allow children as young as 14 to be sentenced as adults in the state's county court for specific offences. This would mean these young individuals would be treated similarly to adults, facing more severe and prolonged prison sentences. For aggravated home invasion and aggravated carjacking, the county court could impose sentences of up to 25 years. A significant increase from the children's court maximum of 3 years for a single offense. The maximum sentence for aggravated home invasion and carjacking could be elevated from 25 years to life imprisonment for individuals aged 14 and over. The 5 offenses targeted are aggravated home invasion, intentionally causing injury in circumstances of gross violence, including machete crimes, recklessly causing injury in circumstances of gross violence, also including machete crimes, and aggravated carjacking. Carjacking offenses will, by default, be heard in the county court, with exceptions requiring substantial and compelling reasons to remain in the children's court. Aggravated burglary and armed robbery, if deemed serious and repeated, will also be transferred to the county court. Crucially, the sentencing principles for judges will be fundamentally altered to ensure community safety is prioritized, that the impact of alleged offending on victims is considered, and that the principle of imprisonment being of last resort for child offenders is removed.